everyone, and thank you for being here. I screened the first movie I made, Año Uña, at this same festival almost 20 years ago, and so it's such a special treat to be able to premiere Campeo Gabacho here tonight. So I want to thank Claudette and everyone at South by Southwest for the amazing opportunity. I know there's no better place and no better audience for this film than right here tonight. Campeo Gabacho is based on a novel that Aura Xilonen wrote. She wrote it when she was just 18, and she invented a whole new language for it, which she called Ingleñol, and it's a mixture of English, Spanish, and completely made-up words, which I thought perfectly convey what it is to be an immigrant, caught between two languages, two cultures. And so I was inspired by the lyrical quality of this language and by the youthful energy of the book, and decided I wanted to make a movie that was full of energy, very dynamic, and incredibly imaginative. So I hope you guys enjoy it. You're gonna see a lot of us afterwards at the Q&A, but I want to give a special thanks to Juan Daniel, the main actor, who truly gave a lot of humanity to the character of Liborio. And to the rest of my amazing cast, Reuben, Leslie, Cheech, Eddie, Rosario, Marvin, Carlos, and my whole, and the rest of my crew, who everyone poured their souls into this project to help me get this vision on the screen. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you afterwards. Thank you for watching the movie. I'm going to slowly bring my amazing cast and team that helped this movie. Leslie Grace, Irene. Aura Xilonen, the novelist and co-writer of the script. Reuben Blades, Sabakur. Edgar Barrera, who did the amazing soundtrack, and Campeo Gabacho, who composed the score. Marvin Jones, who played Joe. Cheech Marin. Gabriela Rodriguez, the producer. Most important, Juan Daniel García.
I love a surprise entrance. So, tell us about the origin story of the film. How did it come about? How did you get involved in it? Give us the backstory.
Well, I read Aura's novel, and I immediately became enamored with the language she invented and the energy the book had in it. I really saw a movie in it, both because I really thought it was beautiful the way it approached immigration through this very human kind of approach, and also because I saw the potential of a really fun movie that I could use to kind of play with cinematic language.
What about the casting process? Talk us through that, and everyone get involved.
The costume process?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I wanted to play with the movie was this grounded reality that had a stylized approach to it. I was really inspired in developing the tone and feel of the movie by movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once, but also Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. So I really wanted to play with grounding it in a reality of a neighborhood of New York, but also being able to stylize a bit this reality, because to me it's a movie where we're seeing and feeling everything through Liborio's imagination.
I'd like to open this up to audience questions. If anyone has a question, please do raise your hand, and straight away, right in the middle there, yes.
Thank you. It was an amazing film. I just have one curiosity. The
question was about the outer space scene.
The outer space scene,
Well, I think
por honrar a una película.
honrar una película a muchas, pero sobre todo I think like to me at that moment is just I really wanted to show through Liborio's feeling, like what it's feeling at that moment of the first kiss. So, you know, at first in my development I had them float, but then I really wanted to push that kiss further and like that feeling that arrives to the Big Bang and the explosion. And yeah, in honor to that movie Gravity, I did put a little space station far away.
Yes, yes, let's see. Just behind me, I can't see much except for you have your hand up, so I hope you know. Yeah, yes, yes.
Amazing. Hi. Well, this is for specifically Reuben Blades. He's from Panama, so I obviously have to speak out about it. Your character, when like really speaks, you know, I was cheering up a lot of the movies, like what you speak about, you know, getting up and doing it for the community. You know, I'm from Panama. I'm here my first time here, and being able to see that and feel that, like that's truly everything. So if you can speak a little bit about that, like, you know, everybody that I know grew up in your music, and to be able to see you on a big screen like this is huge. So that just like you as an actor be able to say those messages, if you have any, you know.
I'm not entirely sure what the question was. It's for Reuben. Reuben, can you talk about being you? I don't know the question was.
So the question is like, you know, for me it felt like a very meta moment, and I don't know if it felt like that for you.
Meta. Un momento meta, donde tu persona de afuera
Oh,
conecta.
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. I really believe that one of the things that attracted me to the possibility of acting is also to get out of my comfort zone as a musician and composer and work in other projects where I need to collaborate with somebody else's idea, and I get to work with people that I admire, like in this case, you know, not only all of you, but people like Cheech that I've always admired and loved their ideas. It's a nice opportunity to see friends like Carlos Carrasco, whom I know for 60 years. Panama, we met when I was 18 years old, and now to still count him as a friend and to be working with him. So it was, and also with Jonas and the magnificent team from Mexico. But basically, I think that we're all projecting things that we believe in. I've had a lot of experience through my grandmother and my mother and my father about the necessity to give back to the community. I mean, and to contribute to try to make this world better than the way you found it. And there's a consistency in that in my life. You know, I think integrity is really the moment when what you think, feel, do, and say become one. And I thought that the intention of Jonas in this movie was precisely that, to bring out something that was not pandering, that was not the usual treatment about the need to help and the need to identify, to be solidary with people. And I thought that that was a very, very good opportunity for me to stress that which I already think. You know, that if we don't help each other and if we don't try to look after one another, we don't have a chance. If we do, then we can move forward.
I'd love to talk a little bit about developing the soundtrack, and obviously music is a huge part of this. So, and perhaps Leslie or Edgar, this is a good question for you to talk about building out the music and how you integrated it into the film and into the narrative.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Talk about music.
I mean, for the soundtrack is there are like 16 songs that I wrote especially for the movie, and it was a really fun process because I watched the movie when it didn't have any of the effects or anything, and it was the first time that I worked on a soundtrack on a film, and for me it was like a new experience of watching the film without any music at all, and it's just like trying to imagine what goes with Jonas also, you know. I hear this over here in this scene and what's up, but writing the soundtrack from an immigrant point of view, which felt very special because I feel that we are missing that right now. People that are singing about the real situations that are out there in the streets. And I said it before, like there's a couple songs that we wrote after we went out to a march in LA protesting about ICE and immigration, and it felt really special just going into the studio and writing a song about what we just saw and experienced in the streets. And I just thank Jonas for bringing me into this amazing opportunity to have songs written about immigration into this great film.
What was the question, sorry?
Just generally talk about the music and how it was developed and how you integrated it into the narrative.
Okay. Yeah, well, there was like this very clear palette and color and texture that Jonas wanted, so we started working on that as a starting point, and I think the music works like as a bridge between the emotion of the characters and the works along also with the soundtrack. They go on this team together. So yeah, it was like sitting down on a Zoom call with Jonas and listening what his spotting points were in each scene, what the emotion he wanted to evoke, and going through with the references and the instrumentation that we agreed from the beginning.
Yes, any more questions out here? Let's see, let's go over here, yes.
What was the challenges for bringing all the different Spanishes that we speak? Like New York, LA Spanish, like there's people from everywhere. El español está bien variado. What was the challenges writing that?
I love how you phrased that. Can you talk about the challenges of all the Spanishes?
And on top of it, there's the Ingleñol, the invented Spanish. I think it was a really fun process. It started writing with Aura and like really exploring having a varied language, and then it went through with the cast. I really wanted the complexity of Latin community in the U.S. to be shown in the script. So, you know, I have characters from all over Panama, Dominicana, Mexico, LA, like everywhere. So I wanted to create that universe.
I would like to hear from the cast as well. Talk about what it was that appealed to you about the script and when you decided to sign on to this project.
Del guión, pues los madrazos. De boxes, sí, más que nada de boxes.
Punches and bucks. A life of beatings and bucks.
And yes,
so many things. The language, I think, seeing a script that reflected the mix of languages that I think, at least for me, has been my experience being first generation Dominican American, born in New York, but growing up in Florida and now living in LA. I've always lived in a space where, you know, there's dialects, there's different sounds, and I love that. I love that about the, you know, the places that I've gotten to live and the people that I've gotten to meet and that have been important to me and my community. So to play Irene and to then get to play with people like Juan Daniel and collaborate with Jonas and all of his team, Pepe, the DP, all of our production team, express the words of Aura that, you know, broke the boundaries from the moment they were on the page. Like, it was just such a blessing to have the opportunity to do that. And then, you know, everybody up here is just people that we looked up to all of our lives. So Reuben, Cheech, Carlos, I mean, you know, I could keep naming for hours at this point with this project. So it was just a blessing.
Yeah, and Cheech, perhaps we could hear from you. What was it that stood out about the script for you?
I only had one goal in this movie, is to look old as possible. Because Jonas was afraid that maybe I didn't look old enough for the role. I look plenty old, but it was the first movie I've ever done entirely in bed. And so I thank Jonas for the opportunity. And it was a wonderful project to work on. I mean, just wonderful, and it got better every day. And as I understood more and more what it was going to be, and I thought, and when we made it, I waited to see how it was, turning out, and I kept calling my agent. Well, you heard from him? No, they say it's coming. Okay. I hope I'm not too old, like to die before it comes. But I was so thrilled with this movie. I mean, I'm really thrilled. When those two were flying up into the air, I was transported. I mean, it expanded the vocabulary of this movie, like, out to the limits, and it was amazing. Everybody was touched by the same scene. I heard it in the audience, and so, and it's hard to accomplish that when you write it, but when you do it, it's a whole different deal, and it's not anything that you expected. And I'm so proud of this film, to be in it, and to everybody that's made it.
So I think we have time for one more question. So this is the high pressure moment of having the best question of the night. Let's go over here in the red shirt.
Hi.
Make it good.
Love the film, so powerful. Actually, I'm Colombian, I'm an immigrant here, and just, like you were saying with ICE and immigration and everything that's going on, it's so heavy and difficult to watch. But the movie itself is really very positive, and it's a lot of fun. And like you were saying, being at the protest and then writing a song, and I was just wondering if you could speak on turning something that's like very difficult for so many people, and why your approach is to turn it into something positive.
The question is a beautiful one. Can you talk about the process of turning something very difficult into something positive?
Yeah, I mean, I think what attracted me to this project is I think I've always been attracted to the subject matter of immigration. I've been an immigrant my whole life in the US, and I think part of the issue is that immigrants and immigration is talked about as a concept, and I really wanted to show the complexity of the humanness. It's a very human approach. And from the get-go, it's a project that allowed me to go inside of the head of an immigrant, through voiceovers, but also through experiencing the movie and just seeing its human desires. It's a very complex story with, his hardships and the violence, but also it's full of friendship, love, romantic aspirations, dreams, so I think that's what I find the most beautiful about this project, and the fact that his journey gets solidified when he starts finding a community, because that's also something that I think is very important nowadays, to really emphasize that, the beauty that we have in community.
Well, I think to wrap this up, we do have to wrap this up. I think that's a perfect point to end. So I thank you all so much for this beautiful film and for being here with us tonight. And thanks to you all for coming out. We're very grateful. Thank you.